Welcome back to the Jeremiah Show. My very special guest today is Christine Tran. She's food and beverage director of Finch and Fork at the Kimpton Canary Hotel, downtown Santa Barbara. We're also celebrating Mothers and Mother's Day a little bit early here. And we're doing that because there's such a great event for Mother's Day at Finch and Fork. We're giving you enough time to make that call and get those reservations for mom. You want to take her out to a special brunch buffet. It's coming up on Sunday, May 12th. Don't forget, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. at Finch and Fork, featuring farm fresh produce and locally sourced ingredients and an incredible brunch buffet menu with some great desserts. And also, I love this. If you need a last minute gift for your mom, sometimes you forget to get those cards or those flowers or a gift. They're doing a pop up market in their hotel lobby. Again, 10 a.m. to 4. And they've got great gifts from Golden Arrow Goods, Lavender Lane Soaps, and Echo Shoemaker Pottery. So check that out. We're going to talk about the main course down there today at the end of this segment. But first, let's welcome back Chris. Hey, Chris, welcome back.
Thanks, Jeremiah.
Did you know that more phone calls are made on Mother's Day than any other day of the year?
No, that's
kind of makes sense, though, doesn't it?
That's when everyone remembers to call their mom, right?
Yeah. Apparently traffic on the phones backs up and crashes, and it goes up 37%. So that's pretty crazy. Call your mom early. Take her to, better yet, take her to Finch and Fork.
Yes.
Okay, so beside the incredible Mother's Day brunch, which we're going to continue to talk about throughout the show, what are some unique things that the Kimpton Canary Hotel does to celebrate Mother's Day? Can you go into that pop-up? Can you talk about, I know you come from the Four Seasons, that name which we shall not mention at the Kimpton, but at the Four Seasons, don't they do something like every hour they bring you like a little gift? Does the Kimpton do anything like that? Like, or they try to make it special, something special to remember? And I know you guys do stuff like that because I've experienced it up on the roof.
Definitely. I think the pop-up kind of embodies what we do, and that is definitely community support. We are definitely obsessively local. So we support local artisans, entrepreneurs. These are also female-owned businesses that we're inviting in. They have great gifts, like you said, little, even if you already got mom a gift, maybe you're going to enjoy the buffet and maybe you're going to stop in and get a little surprise for mom or something like that. So definitely it's sort of part of what we do to support the local community in itself. So we love doing things like that. We've done a couple on the roof before, like you've mentioned. We've recently had a Women in Wine social with local winemakers and brought in some local entrepreneurs to help support that with a pop-up there. We've got some more rooftop wine tastings coming up. The spring season is upon us, so the next one is April 28th, and that's with Brander Wines. And we'll bring in a local musician to also play during that time. So we have that. We'll have fun activities coming up in May, like for Cinco de Mayo, we're going to have a tacos and tequila party on the roof and have some fun up there. And definitely we have fun things planned for the summer during summer soiree on the roof with definitely special drinks and food and musicians as well. We'll have bands up there. We'll do whole weekends up there for Memorial Weekend. And I know the roof is something that people have definitely told me lots of stories of past dates and ventures up there. So we're happy to be able to open that up and bring the community in to enjoy these events again, for sure. So
yeah, if you haven't been up to the roof, are you, correct me, you were the only rooftop lounge and pool in Santa Barbara. Are you still, or has anybody tried to catch up and join you guys?
Yes, in Santa Barbara, as far as I know, yes, we're the only rooftop in town here.
That's amazing. That's great. and beautiful views of the Santa Barbara Mission, the hills. So if you're coming in from out of town, we actually have listeners all over the world. I was counting over 100 countries from the podcast. And so when you guys come into Santa Barbara and come into town, definitely make that a destination. Get up there if you can. I think you might have to be a guest. I'm not sure, but if you can attend one of these events or just go see Santa Barbara with a nice glass of wine and watch the sunset, you see all the way down to Point Magoo in Malibu. You see, the ocean, the Channel Islands, the islands that were made so famous in Island of the Blue Dolphins, that great book on the Channel Islands out there. And it's just an amazing view, an amazing place to hang out with some friends, getting the nice ocean breezes. You're right in the middle of downtown. One of my favorite spots to go. So I loved how you mentioned in the beginning you are so Santa Barbara centric, which is true. A lot of people say that, but you really uh, walk the walk. For instance, I talked to your general manager a few months back on the show, and he talked about of the hotel, and he talked about using Santa Barbara how do you say it? Apothecary.
Apothecary?
Yeah, apothecary. Thank you. I'm like looking at it. I'm like looking at it. I can't remember how to say it. And it created a scent because the fig trees are
Yes.
big in Santa
Big in
Barbara, and
state, yes.
and
So
then
when
it
you
had
walk into the hotel, you will get a light dose of the scent in there. And again, to kind of bring into play some of the memories that you may, cherish for years to come um, when you're thinking of Santa Barbara.
yeah, and you immediately start to relax, right? You just like I'm here. I arrived. I'm in Santa Barbara. Especially if you've never been here before, it really gets you, right there in that mindset. And then you walk, say, hang out a quick right, and you've got Finch and Fork there, which is just this beautiful restaurant we're talking about today, and have a great meal. I love again the local partners that you work with: Babe Farms,
Yes.
Bellwether Farms, Chino Valley Ranch. I'm going to mention all of them because I live here in Santa Barbara, and these are great, great companies that you're working with, and they deserve to be heard and to be checked out. I'm going to put all of their websites up in the podcast copy so you guys can check them out if you like. Fair Hills Farms, Flying Disc, Frecker Farm, Guard of Hope Ranch, Canaloa Seafood. Love those guys for a long time. Kenter's Farm, Riger Farms, the Santa Barbara Fish Market, Santa Barbara Smokehouse, Tutti Frutti and Wildworks. All these great companies that you work with, great farms. I mean, that's a real, uh, there's a real partnership there with Santa Barbara down at the hotel.
Yeah.
So, uh, so let's talk about more about what you guys are doing. What do you love, Chris, most about being the food and beverage director at Finch and Fork?
Like we've mentioned before, we're very uniquely located. We are near all of these farms. Like we see them. I see them coming into the kitchen to deliver things. I see them at the farmers market twice a week down the street. It definitely is a great connection to that community that is very different from being at a different hotel, at a restaurant in LA. Um, and the wineries, of course, as we mentioned, are nearby.
Mm-hmm.
The winemakers, stop in. The owners of the wineries may stop in as well. Or we do lots of events and festivals around town. It's great to see them as well too. So I think that community connection is like none other around
Yeah,
here. It makes it
yeah.
special.
And you mentioned Brander, doing an event with
Yes.
Brander Winery. Fred Brander is a good
My
friend
friend.
of mine for years. I love good old Freddie. Such a good guy. Uh, so, do you have personally a hospitality story? It could be at the Kimpton Canary and Finch and Fork, or maybe it's just something in your hospitality past, but a story that defines hospitality in your way and how you give hospitality to your guests. Something where you went above and beyond, or a guest was super impressed. Can you? I love hearing those kind of stories. Do you have one?
Sure. I think we all have different stories. I know a recent Let's do a recent one since we are talking about moms. One that personally touched me quite a bit. We have a guest who comes from LA to meet with her family, kind of part way here. Santa Barbara is the meeting point with her family from up north, and they come maybe once every other month or so for brunch with the family. And I've seen her for this past year. And it's already a great moment seeing them and the family get together. It's almost like a reunion every time they come. And she brings her 90-year-old mother to see the sisters. So one time last month, they were meeting another sister, a half sister that none of them had ever met before, and they
Mm,
were all so nervous. She shared the story with me. And apparently, the sister had found her birth mom, which is her mom. And
wow.
they flew her across the country and chose the Canary as their meeting point for the first time. And so the family had met here before that sister arrived and was just kind of, I guess, trying to figure out what to say or what to do or how to embrace, the whole moment of things. Everyone was very nervous. So I treated them to a nice breakfast before they arrived. Said we're going to meet here in the lobby, like somewhere, public, so it's not, too closed off if they were going to meet in the room or some strange place. And so they're like, okay, let's just meet here, quiet corner of the lounge. And they did, and just kind of gave them their space and brought them over a box of tissues and a bottle of bubbles to help them
That
celebrate
helps.
that moment and just kind of help break the ice there.
Yeah.
And just everybody was just flooded in tears, and it was just such a special moment um, and weekend there. So of course, they came for dinner, treated them to some dinner, some surprise desserts, and they just loved the whole evening. Even the sister, all of a sudden was like, "Oh my God, I'm in hospitality as well," and this was just the perfect moment. So it's just kind of like that balance of, you know, being part of their family, but giving them enough space to have their moments together. So that was very very touching to me to be part of that moment with them again.
That's a beautiful story. I love that. That's really great. And that isn't that there's why you're in hospitality, right? For moments like that you get to be a part of and make an impact. They'll never forget that. That's amazing.
Yeah.
What a great story. Well, we got to take another break, Chris. Before we do, though, let's not let up on teasing our listeners and making them hungry. I like to torture them. What now you've had this wonderful start to your meal at the Mother's Day at the Finch and Fork coming up on May 12th, 10 a.m. before. And you sit that you go to the buffet and the shellfish towers and all the great salads and produce from Santa Barbara's Bounty. And you sit down at your table, you got endless mimosas being poured tableside. What happens? What do you have as a main course? What are you offering on the menu? Can you say?
Yes, of course. Again, we love our local partners. So we do a beautiful Santa Barbara smokehouse salmon Benedict, and with the beautiful hollandaise on that. And we do short rib with Roan Mills polenta on there, which is organic and local mill as well. Actually, I think they're the first mill in California itself. They're out of Fillmore, and that's with the eggplant caponata um, on that. We are very well known for our smashed avocado toast. with beautiful avocados. We do the Chino Hills organic eggs. And that is a very popular dish that we do during brunch itself. So that's definitely a mom fave as well. Those are some of the dishes.
Yum. Those are great. Celebrate mom with a special brunch buffet on Sunday, May 12th from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. at Finch and Fork, featuring farm fresh produce and locally sourced ingredients. Enjoying assortments of bountiful appetizers, farmers market salads, brunch favorites, delightful desserts, and so much more. Don't forget that endless champagne, that bottomless champagne with orange juice. Reservations are recommended. It can be made online. Go to finchandforkrestaurant.com, events, or you can call them 805-884-0300. I wouldn't wait. Don't hesitate. Go ahead and do that now. They're going to book up, I am sure, at their social media. You can find them at Finch and Fork, and you can also find them at the Canary Hotel. And if you need a last minute gift, the Kimpton Canary will also have a gorgeous mini Mother's Day pop up market in their hotel lobby on May 12th, again from 10 to 4. It's got perfect gifts from local Santa Barbara. Is it women vendors? Did I hear you correctly, Chris?
Yes, they are all
Women
female
vendors, female vendors,
Yes.
including Golden Arrow Goods. That has candles and luxury bath products, Lavender Lane soaps, and Echo Shoemaker pottery. Again, make the reservations now. Finchandfork.com, 805-884-0300. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere.